The John Heyman's Law Office is number 90. It is Alan Coates from Ledyard, Connecticut. Outside of him, driving the 00 machine, it is North Branford, Connecticut's Ernie Bertrand. Sliding back to the second row, from Waterford, Connecticut, it is the 76 of Chris Moose Doughton. Outside of him, driving the 35 machine, it is Groton, Connecticut's Bring It On, Bruce Thomas Jr. On the inside of row number 3, driving the number 2 machine out of Monroe, Connecticut, it is Dwayne Knoll. Next up on our field, Toyota of Westport and Northeast Labor Force present the 28 machine of Westport, Connecticut's Jay Lozniak. 7th position belongs to the 38, Pawcatuck Tire, PMW Marine, Bohawk Northeast Incorporated, Starting 5 Entertainment, and Yankee Remodeler present Pawcatuck, Connecticut's Joe Curioso III. Going off from a starting spot, he was the track champion in the Bob Valendi Automall Late Models and Rookie of the Year. Please welcome Norwich, Connecticut's Tim Jordan. 9th starter on the field will be Norwood, Massachusetts' Dennis Stample in the Foxport Transport LLC sponsored entry. And hanging out next to him, driving the 13, from Waterford, Connecticut, it is Anthony Macrino. 6th row belongs to the number 0, that is Scout Coast Welding, Palinko Electric, the Kitchen and Bath Showroom, Cross Street Properties, 0 for Seymour, Connecticut's Vin Esposito. By 2, they slowly enter 3 and come off 4 under the watchful eye of Bill Roberts. Alan Coates and Ernie Bertrand bring them to the start. Green is in the air. The drag race to the first turn is on. Alan Coates with the victory. And underneath him, it is the 76 of Doughton as Ernie Bertrand tries to hold him off as they go down the backstretch. Bertrand slots into the 2nd spot. Doughton falls 3rd. We have Bruce Thomas in 4th. And Expressway J.J. Lozniak is in 5th. Doughton slides up the track, almost touching the wall. That almost allows Bruce Thomas to get underneath him. Thomas fighting it with him as they go down the backstretch. He'll fall back into the 4th spot. Dwayne Knoll rides in the 6th position. Battle between Joe Curioso and Tim Jordan for that 7th spot. Curioso to the inside. Now, once again, mounting the battle, it is the 35 of Thomas. He looks to get underneath the 76 of Doughton. Side by side, they roar through turn number 3, off 4. Give the spot to Thomas right now as they cross the stripe and head into 1. From the drop of the green flag, yellow, as we have trouble further back involving the 77 of Rich Durante, the 32 of David Quenville, and the 82 of Dennis Stample. Bertrand is able to get the jump on Alan Coates. A rematch of on the restart. Coates once again flies out to the lead. He is in front. That might allow Bruce Thomas to slide underneath the 00 of Bertrand. Bertrand and Thomas down the backstretch. Thomas gets to the door handle, but he is able to be held off by Bertrand, but he is persistent on that inside. He looks to get even, almost pulls even with him as they go into turn number 1. Thomas and Bertrand side by side through 2. Down the backstretch, they will stay stapled together as they head into 3. The battle continuing on. Thomas to the inside, Bertrand on the outside. Doughton behind them looking for an opening in that battle. He has Jay Lozniak joining the fray. Still side by side as they've raced around for the last 2 laps, Thomas and Bertrand. All the while, Coates looking to strengthen that lead. Thomas gets out just a little bit as they cross the stripe. He'll take the 2nd position away from Bertrand. Now Lozniak underneath the 76 of Doughton in the battle for the 4th spot. In tow, the 38 of Joe Curioso, his first time in a late model main event, and doing very well in the opening laps of this race. Now Lozniak moves into the 4th spot. Here comes Curioso in his wake. Curioso makes the pass. He gets the 5th spot, dropping Doughton to 6th. Vin Esposito runs 7th, and the 2006 champion, Timmy Jordan, runs 8th. Both Bertrand and Thomas now look to close the gap on the John Heyman number 90 of Alan Coates. Coates with a 2-car advantage as they go down the backstretch. Then we'll drop back to about 5 cars where the battle is between Lozniak and Joe Curioso and Chris Doughton. Here comes Tim Jordan to the outside of Esposito now, and he'll move into the 6th spot. And as Curioso looks to get underneath the 28 of Lozniak. Lozniak is hung out on the outside. That allows Curioso a run. He moves even at the stripe. He'll grab the spot as they go into 3, still side by side. Lozniak and Curioso battling down the backstretch. On the outside, Lozniak gets a little bit of an advantage as those two cars continue to fight it out. Off turn number 4, it is still Lozniak and Curioso as they go into turn 1. Stapled together off the backstretch. Now Curioso edges out. They both slide up the track a bit. They're able to save it and continue the battle between the two of them. Side by side off turn number 4. They'll touch once, twice, 3 times as they go into turn number 1. Still side by side, each one trying to ebb out just a little bit of an advantage as they come off turn number 4. Now Curioso around, he grabs Dalton. Tim Jordan taps in, spinning further back as the 82 of Stample, and the yellow will fly. Throw the green, he does. Coates gets the jump, little tap by Thomas. Thomas will fall in line in the second spot. Chris Doughton fails to come up to speed, he'll fall back off the field. Ernie Bertrand in the third spot, and here's Jay Lozniak as the 0 of Esposito look to slide underneath him. Now they are at battle as they come off turn number 4. Lozniak hanging on to the 4th spot as they go into turn number 1.
Alan Coates able to swing clear of the 35 of Thomas. Thomas is going to take another shot. Stranded on the bottom groove is Moose Doughton. Everybody is able to scamper around him. What a battle for the lead. The battleship, Bruce Thomas trying to bring it on against Alan Coates. Those two cars surgically attached as they head into the 4th turn. Bertrand is right there. So is Lozniak. Coates trying to hang on by slivers and toenails. He still has the top spot, but not surrendering. Bruce Thomas, Ernie Bertrand has made it a 3-way fight for the lead. Here they come, welded together off the 4th turn. Bruce Thomas nudges his way into the lead on lap number 16. So Thomas becomes a new leader. Alan Coates was on easy straight for the first 15 laps. Bruce Thomas took over, and Coates is determined to get his edge back. They stampede across the stripe, and Coates is in front on lap number 17. So he only let Thomas borrow that lead for 1 lap, then he got it back. Now Bruce Thomas with the leverage of the bottom groove. He lightning bolts his way, bringing Coates up the racetrack a little, and now Thomas is out in front. 4 laps, 4 lead changes in the late model race. Now Bertrand wants a piece of the action. He barrels his way, makes a napalm move into turn number 4. Coates fades into 3rd. Bertrand takes over 2nd. So Alan Coates, who had everything go his way for the first 12 laps, has now faded from 1st to 3rd. Our leader is Bruce Thomas, and almost hanging on like a clothespin in 2nd place is a 00 of Bertrand. Then it is Coates, Jay Lozniak, and the fastest car nobody knows about, Vin Esposito trying to hang on to 5th, but here comes the Z-Man, Dave Zemke. He has some elbow room underneath him as he tries to bang his way into a top 5 position, and Dave Zemke doing a great job to go into 5th. Dave Zemke, a lot of success over the years here at the Bowl in the Sportsman, and he is having a solid run, maybe one of the best runs we've seen him in the last 2 years, a top 5 car. Here comes Larry Goss as he whistles his way into 6th place. Stampful now moves into 7th, so Vin Esposito having his difficulties. Tim Jordan, the latest driver to make the move underneath. So Jordan tunnels underneath the Vin Esposito car, but meanwhile on Main Street is Bruce Thomas. He has been able to separate himself by about 3 car lengths against Ernie Bertrand in the 00. Also right there, Alan Coates, and Coates has not been the same since the green flag has come out on lap number 13. We approach the halfway point, and what a morale boost this will be to the Thomas team. On Friday, the motor was skipping. There was a lot of concern to the Battleship Brigade, but whatever they did, it turned out to be magic. Ernie Bertrand, having the best run we've seen in a long time, is 3rd. Now Tim Jordan surrenders a spot to Dwayne out of control Knoll. Trouble for the 13 of Tony Macrino as he skids into turn number 4. Everybody able to move around him. So that time, Macrino, almost like a duck in a shooting gallery, started in the Sportsman ranks, and he is ready to roll on a restart against Ernie Bertrand. Great restart for Thomas. Here comes Lightning Larry Goss, trying to take 2nd away from Bertrand. Bertrand back up to speed. bobbled a little bit, and when he went into turn one, he got up to full bore. Here is Goss trying to challenge him for the runner-up position. Dave Zemke's third, and look at Stamfel on the bottom of Joe Perry. He has invaded the top 5. Coates spins. Alan Coates like a revolving door in turn number 2. We stay under green as Coates comes back up to speed. So a little 360 pirouette by Alan Coates. We stay under green flag conditions. Larry Goss has got by Bertrand. So has Dave Zemke. So Bertrand trapped on the outside here, hung out to dry. Zemke trying to move by him on the bottom. And meanwhile, in his own area code at the front of the field is Bruce Thomas Jr. The battle is for second. Larry Goss, who finished second in the point standings last year, is second today, trying to keep his dominance over Ernie Bertrand. Then it's Zemke, followed by Stamfel. Joe Perry is there. What about Alan Coates? Can he and Timmy Jordan, running side by side deep in the field, can they make a move in the last 20 laps? Alan Coates, they said the car was not up to his standards. They made a chassis adjustment, and he went for a wild ride a couple of laps ago, was able to recover. The most intense battle is for the number 4 position, where Zemke is being pestered by Stamfel in car number 82, and the 2 cars touched, and that robbed Stamfel of some of his momentum, and Zemke was able to solidify his advantage. Bruce Thomas, almost in solitary confinement, yellow out as Macrino spins around for the second time. So the second time Macrino brings out the yellow, this time on lap number 33. So we'll see if anybody with 17 laps to go, and this is why I told him that, for moments like this on a double file restart against Larry Goss. Out comes the green, out comes Thomas into the sunlight to take over the top spot. Larry Goss isn't making it easy. Goss sitting on his lap, close enough to siphon the gas out of the tank. Here comes Goss, comets his way into the 4th corner. Those 2 cars even. Thomas slightly pulls away, and Ernie Bertrand, his car seems to be the best early in a green flag run. He is challenging Goss and Thomas for the top 2 positions. Then a battle intensifies between Zemke and Stamfel with Tim Jordan in 6. Thomas has run free of the traffic. He now leads by a car length over the 00 of Ernie Bertrand. Then it's the 6 of Goss. Jordan making a move as he goes underneath the 82 of Stamfel. So a Tasmanian Devil move for the 47 of Jordan. He is now in the top 5, and he has time on his side. 14 laps to go. Let's see if Jordan's car gets stronger down the stretch drive. He's going to try to attack Dave Zemke on the outside, perhaps making one of those slingshot moves. He stays on the high groove. Zemke trying to protect the spot against the defending champion. Here comes Jordan up on the outside. He is there, even, lurking. Turn number 1, can Jordan pull away? He does by eyelashes. So Tim Jordan is moved into 4th. The plot thickens. Thomas has the lead with Bertrand in striking distance. But maybe the guy on the move right now is the 47 of Jordan. Down to the final 11 laps in our late model opener. Richard Durante, he apparently is calling it an afternoon as he heads onto the safety road. Jordan trying to get within a handshaking distance of Lightning Larry Goss. In the rarefied atmosphere of the lead is Bruce Thomas, but the race is developing between 3rd and 4th. Larry Goss a little sideways. Remember, he said that car was tight in the middle of the turns. It means it is tougher to steer. It means he has to wait a little longer to get back on the gas. That's an advantage that Jordan will be trying to take advantage of. Here he comes up on the outside. During his championship run of a year ago, Jordan is able to pass cars on the outside as well as on the bottom. And once again, he is pulled even with the 6 of Larry Goss. So Goss has the advantage, but the baggage on the back of the car is a 47 of Jordan. They go into turn 1. Strong, loud, aggressive move by Jordan as he has moved into the top 3 with 7 laps to go. So getting by Goss was difficult. Getting by Bertrand is going to be even more difficult for Tim Jordan. He would like a yellow flag to come to his rescue. We'll see what will happen over the final 6 laps. Meanwhile, it has been a cakewalk at this stage of the race for Bruce Thomas Jr. Had a great battle to get the lead, not once but twice, from Alan Coates. And he is on the move with Ernie Bertrand in second. And the question over the final 5 laps, does Tim Jordan have enough ammunition left to fire a few rounds at Bruce Thomas Jr.? It doesn't look like he's gaining on Ernie Bertrand with 4 laps to go. Dave Zemke continues his impressive run, but now he's got trouble to his outside. Alan Coates, Goss in the grass. Goss comes back out onto the speedway. Can he stay out of trouble? It looks like he can, as he took the scenic route between to get into turn number 3, wound up on the grass, but was able to keep out of everybody's way. We'll have 2 to go when we hit the stripe. Can Bruce Thomas avoid trouble? Can he avoid Bertrand? And can he avoid Tim Jordan?
Nothing but clear speedway between Bruce Thomas and the checkered flag as they come into turn number 3 and off 4. Ernie Bertrand in tow. Tim Jordan hoping for a caution. Alan Coates is 4th. Battle for 5th between Zemke and Stempel. Zemke has the spot as they go into turn number 1. 2 turns left for Bruce Thomas. He brings it off turn number 4. The battleship will come home with the win. Bruce Thomas. Finishing in second, the 00 of Ernie Bertrand. Third was the 47 of Tim Jordan. The 90 of Alan Coates. And rounding
his hand triumphantly in the air, it's Bruce Thomas Jr. And I don't know if you heard that scream over the PA, but we have an extremely happy driver. And here is why. Friday during practice, the motor was skipping, a lot of concern with the 35 race team. 2 days later, he was able to skip his way by the entire field. What a team victory for you and your team to get this car up to speed in time for today's race.
I gotta tell you, this is one sport that you definitely can't do by yourself. My guys stuck it out with me the whole winter. Everybody that came aboard this year for sponsors, the guy I got the car from, Sam Gooden from New Hampshire, SRS Motorsports, he builds a hell of a car. But all kidding aside, my crew, man, they work day and night on this thing with me, and I gotta thank everybody in my family, my girlfriend for letting me spend 1 million hours at the shop, my sponsors, Arsan Floor Sand, American Billiards, Mystic Transportation on board this year, I got them in the victory lane already. Bossy, Daniels and Sons. Oh man, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. But oh well, we got it done. Once again, I just gotta thank my team, my car owner for putting up with me 1 more year and let me go up north and get this car. It's already paid off.
And we have to thank Bruce Thomas for 50 laps of excitement here in our late model opener. How about a hand for Bruce Thomas Jr.?